Hey everyone, welcome back to Bravo Bedside Banter. I'm Rachel.
And I am Meredith.
And we want to start out by telling you about our really awesome Bravo merch that we're wearing.
Oh, yeah.
This is a silly thing, but we both got on with Bravo merch without talking to each other about it.
Yeah, totally unplanned, which I love. So I am, and if you missed us last week, we took the week off because I was moving across the country and Rachel was celebrating her birthday. So I am living in a place of this in between. Half of my things are unpacked, half of them are not. So I just had to grab something. So I have a Hi Baby Gorgeous sweatshirt on.
And I have a summer house shirt, and then it has like an eagle. It's very oddly American. And then the bottom says, and summer should be fun. Because I had to wear it because Summer House starts filming this week. And the fact that Lindsay drops the bomb that she's pregnant the day they go to film, like that woman, she is her own best PR team.
Keeping us all on our toes. And of course it's SpawnCon. Of course it's in partnership with Clear Blue. We wouldn't have it any other way.
It's going to be really interesting because I'm guessing her boyfriend's going to come with her to Summer House. Well, boyfriend, baby daddy.
That will be really interesting because I am predicting that this dynamic and how she interacts with her ex will just be a totally different perspective than what we saw with VPR this season.
Oh, yeah. I think like Carl is going to be really uncomfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if Carl leaves halfway through the season, honestly, because Carl is not someone who can handle things well. Like you watch that repeatedly when things become elevated, he just shuts down and disengages and walks away. Like any high conflict with Kyle, with Lindsay when they were or weren't dating, with Danielle, etc., he just like shuts down and walks away. So I'm curious if he'll just like shut down and walk away mid-season.
I could see that for him. Yeah, or just coming the first weekend and then being like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe they stagger weekends that they're there.
I could see that too.
Yeah.
I'm really glad Danielle's not going to be there this season.
Me too. She was giving nothing this whole season.
And she just like, it really bothered me in those last couple episodes when she was like babying Kyle and being super nice to him while he was screaming at his wife and calling her a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, Kyle, it's so stressful running a company. I know. And I'm like, this is weird. This is misogyny. This is like just misogyny that you're taking care of this spoiled man that's throwing a temper tantrum and you're ignoring the fact that he screamed at his wife and called her a fucking bitch because she wanted to start her own thing.
Yeah. I think truthfully, she probably saw this coming and was trying to get her kind of keep her foot in somehow. Totally. By taking that angle.
That's a good point. And so right now we're on Below Deck Med too.
Yes.
I've been watching that. I've been watching Jersey.
Yes, same.
How caught up are you? Because the move. So you watched some of them?
I am caught up. Yeah, I think I've seen most of the recent episode of Below Deck. I've seen all of New Jersey. All I got to say is this bougie kids and bougie lifestyle or whatever. It's getting to be like the Heather Gay book tour. Like I'm tired of it. It does not need any more screen time. I love that she's a businesswoman and go, flaunt your business, but please have something else going on. But New Jersey, I feel like is about to pop off. Below Deck, I'm caught up on. Dubai, I'm caught up on. It's really kind of not much is happening. Are you watching Dubai?
I am watching Dubai. Do you know what's interesting is the one woman on Dubai, is her name, it starts with an S. She's very beautiful. She has a son and her storyline is like kind of about being single and dating.
Sarah,
yeah. It's so funny because when I started watching the show, I'm like, why does she look so familiar? And then I realized she's like really viral on TikTok and her videos always come to my page. She talks a lot about dating.
Oh.
Which is interesting because in the show, she acts like she has no idea what she's doing. But then she has this account where she's like very matter of fact of like, this is how you date. This is how you find a man. This is how you find a high quality man.
Interesting.
Yeah. go watch some of her videos. I think some of them I find to be valuable, and then some of them I find a little problematic because I think with most people who talk about dating advice online and have really big platforms, a lot of them can have really problematic takes because they go viral for having absolutism.
Yeah.
And if you've ever worked in relationships or sex or any type of relational coaching, psychology, counseling, etc., you know that there are really no absolutes and everything includes a lot of nuance. And so some of the videos she makes that I found like a little problematic were the ones where it was like absolutism. And I'm like, oh, that's like kind of true, but not always.
And that's unfortunately what gets the views, and that's like the hook to get people to watch your content. So
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, well let's talk. I will do my homework. I'll get on it.
Yeah. Watch some of her videos and we can talk about like what we think about some of her content.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, so I'm watching Dubai too. I thought I'm really loving this season of Below Deck Med so far.
Yes.
I think I'm liking that we're seeing a little bit more with the guests because sometimes I feel like it's too focused on the crew, and I also want to see what the guests are doing.
Yeah.
And so I like that there was a little bit more focus on the guests this so far.
I love that. So we ended below, I think it was just the regular below deck pretty
Yeah,
recently, and they were pretty on top of it with another season, with the season of Med. So I like how they have that. You don't have to wait too long. And each boat, each captain, like each dynamic is different. So it doesn't feel like the same thing over and over again.
okay, if you were to be on a boat, who would you want your captain to be?
I don't know. That's so hard. Who what Captain Carey, was it Captain Carey the last time? I feel like he has a lot of high aspirations for his team, and he has a lot of high expectations, which comes across as sometimes being an asshole. But I also witnessed a lot of soft moments where he showed understanding, and I appreciate that in any kind of leader or boss.
Yeah, I think.
I
Ooh,
know you're going to pick Captain Sandy because of your great experience with her.
oh my god, absolutely not. But I did tell that story to someone recently, and they were like, "I can't believe that happened." And I said, "Yeah, you can listen to the podcast episode for the full tea." But I actually think I would pick Glenn because I feel like he is really gentle but also like very assertive. And I don't see a lot of people like disrespect him or try to like do sketchy things around him. And it's not because he's wrathful and they're scared of him, they just respect him. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a really interesting because like Captain Lee and Captain Sandy, I think a lot of people like follow the rules because they're scared of them because they can both be pretty scary when they're mad. Um,
Mhm.
and then him, and also uh, I have to say Captain Jason because of the way he handled that whole like sexual assault
Yes.
thing was I thought was really really beautifully handled and something that I mean I don't know if he even knew how to handle it or had the skills to do it, but he did a really great job in the way he comforted Aisha as she was telling him, and the way he like immediately was like, "These people are off the boat. We're not doing this."
Yeah, I agree. That was really, I think it was great for them to keep that kind of information in and show people how you can have that reaction to something like that, because I think just deleting it altogether wouldn't be doing anybody a service. Well, maybe the victim, but just to show the wrapping up and like how you handle that, I thought was really admirable.
Yeah, and I loved that he also was like, "I'm not gonna get his side of the story and then, like, make a decision." He's like, "No, this happened and I believe
Yeah.
women and get the fuck off the boat."
Yeah. That was good.
So we
Wow.
have 2 hotties on this season. We have Joe and Nathan, and Joe is um, the one with the darker hair, and then Nathan
Yes.
is the one from Ireland, I believe, or Scotland.
I'm typing in Nathan to make sure that I think,
He has,
okay,
like, kind
yes,
of like
yes,
a
yes,
bowl
yes.
cut.
Yes. He is an interesting vibe. I really want to see where this season goes with them.
Yeah, with him and the other deckhand.
Yes.
She's really struggling to like decide if she wants to be with him or her boyfriend. Like if she, I don't think she wants to date him. I think she just wants to fuck him. But yes.
I mean, I think it's really hard to not have that physical chemistry whenever you're in such close quarters with someone and you do have that sexual tension throughout the day. I mean, whenever you're working with someone, you're with them all the time. I mean, what do they call them? Boatmances.
Yeah.
It becomes just a very low hanging fruit. And so I think I understand why that happens. Now, for if she actually has a real connection with her partner, I would hate to see that go away. But what if they just had a boatmance and the chemistry was there? Because he's also like messaging her some out of pocket stuff. Like she's like, "Hello, I'm out in the middle of the ocean," and he's like, "You don't care."
Oh, I know. It was giving controlling,
Yeah, a little bit.
especially because he works on a boat. Didn't you say he was a chef or he was also a
Yeah,
dock hand?
yeah,
Yeah, and so it's like you know that these people, and I'm sure even more so on a show that's being filmed, you have less time.
right.
Because I'm sure there's things that they do, and then the camera crew is like, "Oh, go do that again. We need a shot of you doing that."
Yeah,
Yeah. So I found it the way he was texting her gave me the ick, her boyfriend. And
same.
when I was reading those
Well,
texts, I was like, "Fuck Nathan, go have fun, go have fun. This guy shouldn't control you."
Well, I think too, like having that whenever you are in that circumstance, you don't really have a lot of time to build trust because your time together was around other people. Like you are working together. And so that is a very isolated event. You are in a vacuum when you're creating that relationship.
Totally.
So trust may exist in that vacuum that you created it, but then outside, you have to relearn the person almost. And I think that's why a lot of those relationships don't work out because it only works in that one circumstance. And then you can't like coordinate to have the same charters and the same season together all the time. So I think it would take a
Totally.
lot of work. But then we do see Aisha
Yeah.
with her man and they got engaged and they're doing great. So
And they met on a boat?
I don't know. I need to go back and see how she met her man, but she has a relationship that seems to be very secure and she works on a boat.
Yeah, I don't know if they met on the boat. Maybe they did because he was a guest or something, but he actually Meredith, he lives in Breckenridge. He
Yeah,
owns a restaurant in Breckenridge.
I she had mentioned that in one episode recently.
Yeah. There's, like, a lot of weird below deck ties to Colorado. So
Colorado.
Meredith and I met in Denver, that's how we know each other, and now even though I live in Hawaii and she's in Georgia, like, we met living in Colorado, and it's interesting how many people from below deck end up living in Colorado because it's a landlocked state. So it's just because Sandy lives there, I know Aisha lives there sometimes, I'm guessing in the winter probably, because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people have seen her around Breckenridge, and then who else was it? Oh gosh, the chief, uh, the main deckhand, Malia. She lives in Colorado sometimes.
Mm. Was she on Winter House? Is that who I'm
Yeah,
thinking
she
of?
was on Winter House. She was the one that was like making out with Corey, and that was like, "He's just my brother. Get over it." Like she was
Yeah,
being
that was
so,
weird. That was bizarre. But that's ironic that you say that now because yeah, Colorado is a totally landlocked state.
and then these people keep ending up there. Well,
Like,
I know Malia lived there because she was dating someone that lived in Vail, and I think he was a ski
mm,
instructor because he went to college with my ex.
mm, wow, we're all connected.
I know. Super small world. Okay, so what do you think though about Gail wanting to cheat and be or like being tempted by Nathan and not following through with it, but like kind of going up to the deck and then the cameras were there and she's like, "Oh, I can't do it." What do you think about her wanting that experience?
It's hard to really say without knowing what her relationship is like. Like, what does trust look like? How long have they really been together? It doesn't appear that they've been together very long. So knowing what I know, which is very limited information, I would say it'd be best to probably end your relationship and have a conversation when you get back, have all the fun that you want, or let your partner know, like, hey, I want to open this up and get myself a piece while I'm on this boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I
keeping it in secret, that's the part that I don't like.
I wonder how many. I feel like almost if you're a yachty, you have to have an open relationship. I think it would be really hard to be monogamous and be away from your partner for maybe 6, 12 weeks at a time, where also you have really limited availability to even call or interact. You're either on completely different time zones, but you're also working all the time.
Or you don't have cell service.
Yeah, or you don't have cell service. So I think it would be really hard to be in a monogamous relationship while working on a boat.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know though. I think it would also depend on your position. So like the captain, it was Captain Carey, right? Last season of just the regular below deck.
I think so, yeah.
A bald Australian. He was learning, I want to say it was Turkish for his girlfriend. And I feel like whenever you do have those days where you just have to be there to make sure that you don't run into something. I mean, I'm sure that they're doing a lot, but he probably has a lot more sitting down time where he could send off hey, I'm thinking of you, or, something like that. Whereas if you are a deckhand, you are out there 12 hours a day sometimes even later. You only get like 3 hours of sleep at night and then you're up and back at it. So and in if I had limited downtime like that, my ass is sleeping.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sleeping. I don't know how they do it with like so little sleep and they just go, go, go.
Yeah,
Okay,
and it's so
so
hard, but it's the money is worth it, I think.
the money's working. So my undergrad degree is in hospitality and tourism management, and a lot of people from the degree program I went on to do yachting, and a lot of the people that do yachting also like start in cruise ships and then they move into
Mm.
yachting. And I knew a lot of people that went on to do it, and it was like you work 6 weeks straight. You have no days off. You only have like an evening off. I think the days that we see them get like a day off, I'm pretty sure it's just because Bravo's like, let's go see them have some drama. Because normally you have no days off and it's like 6 weeks straight. So you're making really good money, but you have no time off and there's a lot of sacrifices you make.
And even on the show, that's a day off, but they're still working because they're being
Yeah,
filmed, and yeah.
exactly. And they have to
So,
pack their own picnic.
oh yeah. I'd be like, can I hire somebody to pack this for me on my day off?
Okay, so what do you think about Brie though and Elena? Elena is the stew that's from Slovenia, and Elena told Brie a couple episodes ago, maybe 2 episodes ago, like I really like Joe. He's really hot. I'm really into him.
Mm.
And then Brie was like, "Yeah, he's hot," and then Brie went for it.
Yes, I think Bree's messy. I think she is there for the TV clout because if she couldn't run, that was the first episode, I believe, where she couldn't even run the laundry room.
Yeah,
I'm
because she
like,
said like
girl,
I've never done laundry in my life because I grew up with a maid.
yeah, I'm like, you didn't come here for this. But in either way, regardless, putting that to the side, relationship wise, if she was into it, I mean, I don't think anybody was like exclusive. I think it's fucked up that she went after it without saying anything. I think if I were to comment on this situation, I'd just say that a conversation should have happened like, hey, I'm really kind of into it and seeing what happens. But also at the same time, nobody was monogamous and you're also on a boat. So chemistry is high. I don't know. Fuck whoever you want. Hook up with whoever you want. Unless somebody's in a relationship, like unless it's stated. But also Bree's messy.
She is. I'm kind of like with Elena on this one of she said because she said before she went to bed, she's like, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm gonna make Joe work for it. And her and Joe had been flirting all night too. Like he was flirting with both of them. And then Brie was like, well, I'm gonna go hang out with him. And then she did, and they ended up.
Ah,
Oh, and I felt like that was kind of a little shady too, to know that your roommate and coworker is saying like, I'm gonna make him work for it. I want to hook up with him. I am interested very blatantly in being like, oh cool, I have the opportunity to make it happen first. I'm gonna go do it.
I think this is the part where I fell asleep in the episode, so this is good information, this is good intel,
Yeah.
to know. I'm sticking to Bree is messy, and she's not there to be a stew, she's there for the TV clout.
Yeah. Well, I think I mentioned this on the episode where we talked about Captain Sandy, but that was the one thing that she did say in her little weird gospel mega church performance that I went to, which was that she has no say in who gets hired for the ship at all, and that
Yeah.
most of the people are hired because they make good TV. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Brie was one of those people because I think she's also never worked on a boat or maybe only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, "How did you get this job?" That's a great question. You must be messy and you must make good TV because you're petty and other factors.
Totally. Totally.
Interesting. Well, hey, maybe we can get somebody from Below Deck to come on and answer some of these questions.
I love to have someone from Below Deck come on because I think that show is not, it's really interesting relationally because all these people are like living together and living together in the tightest, closest quarters you could imagine.
Yeah.
But they also are working really hard and doing a lot of things. And that's very different than other Bravo shows where people are like, I show up to Summer House and I drink, or on
Yeah.
Vanderpump Rules, like, we're going to go get drunk tonight at this bar, or the Housewives of like, we're gonna go on a yacht and be the guest. It's just a very different type of reality
Dynamic.
show and dynamic.
Well, and you're in these micro environments that only exist within that context. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also really interesting too to kind of understand and see what's
Well,
really
and
going on.
the film crew has a boat next to them. So the film crew doesn't stay on the boat; they have a boat next to them. So the whole film crew is also almost acting as like yachties because they're sleeping on the boat and living on the boat next door.
That's what we need. We need a below deck film crew edition,
Yes.
and it'll be like Inception, like filming the film crew. We need cameras in the bunk beds. We need to
Yeah.
know who's hooking up.
Tell Andy we need a camera.
Yeah, that's really the show that we need right there.
Yeah. Was there anything happening on Dubai or Jersey that you wanted to talk about this week? I felt like there's not like a lot going on.
Not much is going on. I think I'm hoping with Dubai, this is kind of like the calm before the storm. I hope it really picks up. Jersey, I know that this is the calm before the storm, and I think it's about to pop off. I mean, obviously, if they're not filming a reunion,
Yeah.
something had to have happened that was major. Oh, well, I guess Jennifer and Danielle kind of got physical.
Oh, they did. That
Yeah,
was
but who does that shock? That's not shocking.
no. No, not at all. It's you know what though? I was Did you watch the 15th anniversary on the Clubhouse where Luann and Sonia were back?
Yes.
Okay. I
I
loved
love
that.
I love that too.
And speaking of messy, I miss them.
Me too. I really hope that they do another, iteration of what was it, Crappy Lake? Something similar.
That was so fun. I love that Sonia was like, "I'm just fucking now."
Oh
Like,
my
that was
god.
she was like, "I sold my condo and I'm having lots of sex. It's great." You
Speaking
get
of
it?
New York, so we don't have, like, cable or anything set up, and I haven't logged in on all of our TVs here yet, so we were leaving last night, and we were leaving our dog here, and usually I like to turn something on for him so he doesn't hear, like, the noises outside.
Of course.
And I could only pull up Peacock. So I'm like, all right, Kelso, that's my dog. You're about to watch season 1 of New York City, Real Housewives of New York City. And it was a struggle for me to get out of the door because I was like, I just want to sit here and watch it myself. I came back home and he was on episode 5. And this was when, no, this was so, so good because Alex was on TV, Alex and the Van Kemps.
Yeah.
Um, and they were in Brooklyn trying to survive this economy. I mean, everything was so, so amazing. And Ramona, I love that she was up on the screen and she's like, I think it's very important to be a sexy housewife and to remain sexy for my husband because he still wants me after all of these years. And I'm like, oh, that aged really, really nicely,
It's
Ramona.
really, really, oh my God. There's a part of me,
Yeah.
like, I know Ramona is a lot of problems, but there's a part of me that has, like, a little soft spot for Ramona.
She makes amazing TV. I 100% would watch a show with Ramona, Sonia Rita, Luann, and then have some rotators in and out from seasons like Jill. Bring
Uh,
Jill in and out, bring Tinsley in and out, have a little like guest
want
appearance.
I still want Aviva to come back. Like, that woman was great
Yes.
TV. That
Yes.
iconic scene of her throwing her leg, like, I don't
Like,
think that Real Housewives gets more iconic than that scene of, like, "This is the only fake thing about me." Yeah,
I think whenever it came out, we didn't know how good we had it.
we did it.
So sad. I would love to see a New York Legacy come back. Sonia and Luann definitely belong on the TV. Bring as cancelable as Ramona is, she is still here. She's a resilient bitch. So bring her back too. Would love to see her make some good TV.
Absolutely.
All right. So we are going to switch gears now and do something fun and different, which is answer some questions that you all have sent us. We posted this through our Bravo Bedside Banter Instagram account. And also, Rachel has posted it on her sex coaching personal page. I don't know. Would you call that your personal
Yeah,
page?
sex
Yeah.
coaching/personal page, both, yeah.
Yeah. So we got some good questions here, and we just figured that we'd take a second to answer them so that you all can get to know us a little better. So I will start off by asking you, Rachel, what got you into this kind of work?
Yeah, so I grew up in a religious cult that was really fundamentalist, very, patriarchal, very steeped in purity culture, virginity culture, and I left that, religion when I was in my early 20s, and when I left, I had a really hard time with a lot of things, but specifically finding practitioners who understood the damage of purity culture and the damage of virginity culture and how much that affects your relationship with your body and how much it affects your pleasure. And so I decided to go back to school to help people who had similar experiences to me, who had grown up in high control religion, and had trauma around sex and their bodies and feeling themselves as worthy of pleasure or able to access a great sex life without shame and guilt. So that's really the Reader's Digest version of how I got into this work, and I'm so lucky I get to do it. I love what I do. What
And I will
about
add that you are great at what you do. And I actually sought out Rachel to be a mentor for me because of how just amazed I was at the work that she did. And also her specialty within somatic work was really amazing to me. So I started off in the clinical side of sexual health doing HIV prevention programming in Denver. And I have my master's in public health, and that was really kind of my focus, but I knew that there was more out there for me. So I had the opportunity in COVID to access a certification program to be a sex coach, and I took that opportunity as soon as I was able. My program was left a lot to be desired, and knowing what I knew from a clinical standpoint and from a public health standpoint, I was really disappointed in what I learned. So I sought out Rachel. She actually was in my algorithm 2022. Was it 2021 or 2022? Um,
2020? Was it even 2020? Because I feel like it was right when I bought my condo that I met you. Or
yeah,
2020.
I was in my program in 2020. So maybe it might have been even in
Yeah,
2020.
yeah,
It
I
was a
think so.
minute ago. And you like popped up in my algorithm and I followed you for a while. And then I was like, I think you're in Denver. Like, would you want to get coffee? And so I took on Rachel and she took on me, and I took her on as a mentor and she took me on as a mentee. And it was a really wonderful relationship. And then we started working together in different capacities. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you too. I loved, well, we still have our relationship, but I loved our relationship. We were both in Colorado, and we did some cool events, and we did some cool sexual health and wellness and pleasure focused things together. And that was really fun because Meredith is also really incredible at what she does. And I think having her background in public health is a huge asset to the clients that work with her because you understand so much like the systemic barriers to sex and pleasure that a
Mm,
lot of people don't understand too.
that's a great take that I've
Yeah.
never thought about. So thanks.
What do you? So this is another question from someone. What are some misconceptions people have when you tell them you're a sex coach?
So I think, and this is just my assumption, the look on people's eyes, like what's happening behind their eyes when I tell them what I do, I think that they think that I'm like in the bedroom with a whistle and in a referee outfit, like, you got this, come on. And that they think I'm there in person. A lot of my work actually, ironically, is virtual because of this land that we, this time that we're in right now. And, that's kind of how people feel more comfortable. So I think that's a misconception is that people think I'm in person like a referee or a, sports coach, like, you got this. Come really big.
Oh yeah, people like definitely. I would say the same misconception when I tell people I'm a sex coach. Normally, when people ask and it's something that I don't really want to get into explaining, I'll just say like I work in mental health or
Yeah.
I work for a sex therapy practice, and I kind of like stop there. Because the misconceptions can be really big too of like, oh, you watch people have sex or you have sex with clients or and none of that is wrong. I fully believe in supporting sex workers, and I think that they're amazing people that um, can really help a lot of clients. But that's not what I do, and it's just different. So I think a big misconception too, to add on to what Meredith said, is like I think people think that we're going to give them tips and tricks. Like they're going to come to a session, they're like, here are the 5 best positions to make her come, or like
Yeah.
here are 5 ways to make your erection last as long as a porn star. And I think people think that we give like tips and tricks.
Sometimes I will. Sometimes I like to give you like a little something to try, but only if it feels appropriate and if it feels like it's low barrier and you could try it and come back with insider feedback or, how was that?
Yeah. And there are like some things, but I think at the end of the day, this is where so many people like uh, don't get it right when it comes to sex. They think that like if I have these tips and tricks, I'm going to be amazing lover, I'm going to be amazing in bed. Are there things you can do that? Yeah. But at the end of the day, becoming a really great lover is about being embodied, being connected to your body, being connected to your pleasure. It's about being attuned to your partner. So much so that like there doesn't necessarily need to be words and you're following along with each other's body almost like a dance. It's about being playful, it's about being curious. Like all of those things are what make you a really great lover, not
Yeah.
necessarily knowing 5 tips to eat ass. I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes that is a part of your toolkit too,
Sometimes, yeah, for sure.
if that's someone's objective.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, I agree 10,000%. The majority of the time, it's what's happening beneath the surface.
it's
And
so
it's a lot of literally looking in the mirror.
Yeah, and I think that's what can be really hard, especially like when I'm working with heterosexual couples. One of the first questions I ask them is like, "Can you tell me your division of household labor?" Um, I'll add the statistic in the show notes because it recently came out. It's really fascinating. But this research study basically recently came out that couples who have the most equity in household labor also have the highest reports of satisfying sex. And so one of the things I talk to clients about in the beginning when couples is like, tell me about how you like break up your domestic labor. How do you support each other? Is someone responsible for everything? Is someone uh, responsible for also managing the other person? Because that's labor
Yeah.
in itself. If your partner has to tell you to take out the trash or tell you to unload the dishwasher instead of you just looking and being like the dishwasher is clean, I'm going to unload it, or the trash is full, I'm going to take it out. That's labor. That's emotional labor your partner's doing. So a lot of like what happens to make really great sex in the bedroom comes from being really great partners outside of the bedroom. And I say the word
Yeah,
partner with all capital letters.
absolutely. Mental load, it's like the silent killer, I think, of relationships and
Absolutely.
inequitable mental load.
Because if you think about it just through like an energy perspective, if I'm the partner and uh, I'm going to speak like traditionally heterosexual relationships, it is a woman that's taking on more of the mental load. And if I'm doing that, if I'm the one that's responsible for household management, for taking care of the kids, for also for telling you, my partner, like what day is crazy hair day, and I'm also responsible for taking the dog to the vet, and I'm also responsible for working my own job, I'm not going to have any energy to want to have sex too. Like
Yeah,
I'm so depleted because I'm giving energy to so many things and I'm depleted. So the energy exchange has to be equitable in order for that desire to be there.
exactly. And that actually is kind of segueing into the next question that we received, which is what's the most common thing people have come to you for?
Oh, what about you? I want to hear you first.
So I think mine is, I mean, I think on the surface, it looks a little different. On the surface, it's, I can't enjoy sex. I'm not in my body. I'm in my head. You know, this is not pleasurable. I'm stressed out. And then below the surface, it's what's really going on. Well, there's an inequitable distribution of mental load and other things that are happening that is beyond the surface that's actually impacting your ability to be in your body. So you have to start there and build a strong foundation. And whenever your foundation is cracked, it really does impact other aspects of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, a lot of so I started out working with a lot of women that have religious trauma. I still work with women that have religious trauma, but my specialty has kind of shifted in the last year to men with erectile dysfunction, and that's a specialty that I didn't anticipate having.
Same, yeah,
And
for you.
yeah, I know I used to say, like, I will never work with men, and I know I
I
told
know.
Meredith, I'm like, I will never work with men. But then I started working, went away from my own business like 2 years ago, started working for a sex therapy practice. And when I started working there, the owner of the practice, Dr. Ballestieri, was like, "How do you feel about working with men with erectile dysfunction?" I'm like, "Well, I have the tools and I know how to do it. I just like, I don't know if I want to." And so I started getting a couple clients, and then I realized like I actually love working with these men. And I love working with these men for so many reasons. I think the first is when they come to sessions, so many of them feel so hopeless because they've tried so many things. They're like, I've gone to the doctor, I've gotten my testosterone checked, I've gotten my urology reports, I've done nothing's wrong. I've tried Viagra and Viagra doesn't even work. And this, like, they're pretty scared too of like, am I ever going to be able to have a healthy sex life or this? And healthy is what they determine that is, not me.
Yeah,
And so teaching them anxiety management techniques and ways to feel embodied and ways to pursue pleasure above erection, which typically leads to just having an erection when you're pursuing pleasure, is a really magical journey that I love to go with people on.
absolutely. And I think too, that's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
And so for men to reach that point where, I mean, it's really admirable. And those are the people that are willing to do the work. It's
Yeah,
not just trendy to, I mean, they are really desperate to seek guidance. And so those people, which I think stands out differently than working with couples, is that those people that are in this position, they didn't just decide that overnight. This has been a decision that they've been thinking about for a while and they're willing to do the work, which I think is great.
totally.
It
Yeah.
makes for effective sessions.
It makes for really effective sessions and really quick progress too.
Absolutely. So here we have, I was just checking to see if we had any more come in. Our last question that we have is who would you like to have on this podcast?
Who would I like to have on this podcast? Honestly, okay, I would love to have Amanda Batula on this podcast. Um,
Mm.
Not because of sex or relationships, but just because I love her and I love her fashion. So it would have nothing to do with what we talk about, but I just love Amanda Batula. To talk about sex and relationships, I would die to get the Countess on our podcast.
Yes, I was about to say Sonia and Luann are my
Yeah.
two.
I I also think it'd be really interesting having a Bravo fuckboy on our podcast.
Mm. Okay, like who sticks out to you?
I was thinking Shep.
Ah, okay.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that would be great because not only are they showing up with their perspective, but also the pressure of filming that and then dealing with the internet, really having opinions about it after the fact. I think that would be really interesting to talk about.
I think it could be a pretty productive conversation around like maybe even uh, a pseudo coaching session around their beliefs around sex and relationships
Yeah.
and through, which would be really interesting.
But also too, like learning, okay, what have you learned from this and how far have you come? Because sometimes they're filming a whole year in advance before it comes out. So they're like, I understand where I went wrong. This wasn't actually me, whatever.
Yeah, like the Valley's filming right now, and we're not going to get that till March.
So sad.
I know.
We need it.
I'm so excited for the Valley. That is the best show Bravo's brought out in a long time.
Yeah. I would love Lou and Sonia. Please. I would love nothing more than to just talk to them about their sexual zest and how they just embody this confidence that they've had for as long as we've known them on our TVs. They've
Yeah,
been so confident, so secure, and I think it's just only gotten better as they've gotten older. And
it
they're
really.
bagging men significantly younger. Like I love to see it.
I do too. I love that Lou loves herself. That they both love themselves so much. It's kind of aspiring to be like it's it's inspirational to me to see women in their because Luann's in her 60s now, right? Or late 50s,
Let
and
me
Sonia
see.
too. But it's inspiring for me to see women that are like, age will not hold me back from being successful romantically or relationally, and it will not hold me back from thinking that I am the hottest thing in the world.
So the Countess is 59 years old.
Okay.
Man, she looks amazing.
She keeps looking better too. That's the thing. She just keeps looking better.
That is all of the housewives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed that too. I'm like, how I was looking at Dolores. I'm like, girl, her surgeon, she is aging in reverse. I mean, she looks better than her first season.
I know. She really does.
Love to see it. Well, this was fun. I hope that we can do this again. Keep sending us your questions.
Keep sending us your questions. And then before we go, do you have a hot take for the week, Meredith?
The hot take is I'm tired of seeing bougie kids. Like, go off, Danielle. Love your company. Please have something other than bougie kids in your storyline. This has been like 3 episodes now. We are ready to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. I get
What's your
that.
hot take?
That the new chef on Below Deck isn't that bad. Like I feel like everyone's acting like he's the worst chef ever, and I just there's been way worse chefs that Sandy has had before, and I just don't think he's that bad.
I agree. I think he doesn't take suggestions very well though, and that tracks because he hasn't worked in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Like he hasn't worked obviously he has worked in the kitchen, but he is not restaurant trained,
yeah.
and I think that trains you to take feedback. Speaking of, I just had a brain blast.
What?
New season of The Bear just came out. I know it's not Bravo, but I'm about to binge that once we get our TV set up.
Oh my god! So that's a show that I cannot watch. So I watched the first season, like the first 4 episodes, I'll say, and I was so stressed out. And like even just like I'm like looking at that soda machine and I'm like I have PTSD from changing those soda machines out and having them explode on me like and just like having worked in a restaurant I'm like this show is not fun. It just stresses me the fuck out.
I love it.
Maybe
And
I'll
talk
try.
about a fuck boy, Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, but he's so hot, and he's been
Yeah.
I've had a crush on him since he was in Shameless and
Yeah,
since he
yeah,
was
yeah.
a dirty, dirty, like, kid.
Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna be doing this weekend. I'm gonna be binging that whole season, or I don't know if they release it just episode by episode, but
I'm
we're
gonna go
definitely gonna be watching that once we get the TV set up because I'm ready. Yes, chef.
hell
I
yeah.
think it's meant to stress you out a little. You're supposed to be in that kitchen. You're supposed to be feeling it.
Maybe I'll, like, turn it on today in the background while I do some admin work, but I know I'm gonna, catch up on MILF Manor. That's, like, my
Oh, I gotta watch that.
if you are a listener right now and you have not watched MILF Manor, please go do it. It is the best reality show to come out in a very long time, and it's a different category of good from The Valley, but it is so good.
I love it. Well, awesome. This was so fun today. It was good catching up. And yeah, we will see y'all next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.